This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
For my friends.
77 WABC.
Turned on the lights, the TV, and the radio. Still I can't escape the ghost of you. What has happened to it all? Crazy summer say. Where is the life that I recognize? But I won't.
Duran, Ordinary World. I saw these guys perform this in Times Square in the rain 2 years ago. I said I'd never go, and I went. I was holed up at a hotel because my house had damage, and the hotel was 2 blocks away. So the 4 of us, me, Danielle, Ava, and Gabe, did it. And just so happens right before they dropped the ball New Year's Eve that year, Duran did perform live. So last time my friend Lizzy Savetsky was on this show, you'll remember it was a big deal. She was in studio. She was heading to Israel that day or the day after, I forget. And after basically 8-9 months of pounding her, I mean pounding her, that Donald Trump is the only candidate for the Jewish people, the only one, explaining to her time and time again what Biden was really doing to Israel. And when she came into the studios that day, Harris was already the presumptive nominee. And she knows Harris's history. She's smart, Lizzie. So she said on the air that day, MAGA 2024. And when they put the clip up on Instagram of Savetsky's appearance on this show, her saying MAGA 2024, I noticed the comments because they're on my page too. They're on my page and Lizzie's page. And they were vile. I mean death threats for Lizzy Savetsky because she's got the nerve to vote for a person who loves Israel. She's not been back since. She was in Israel for the longest time. I believe she's back in the States and calling from Texas this morning. But here's my friend. I love her. Courageous, the great Lizzy Savetsky. Good morning, Lizzy. How are you?
Well, howdy, Sid.
How are you?
Yeah, a lot has happened since I was in your studio, and this is actually the first time I've ever called in. I much prefer to get to see your big smile when you torment me.
I do like when you come in studio too. But I'm glad you did call in today because people say to me, "Where's Lizzy? What's going on?" Because they saw some of those vile responses, death threats.
Yeah.
They said horrible things about your little daughters. I mean, I know you were upset, and you said to me and Siggy, I hope my career's not over, but were you not shocked? These were Jewish people, Lizzy.
I wasn't surprised, and this is one of the reasons that I had held off going public and then ultimately decided that, a lot of people must feel the way that I do, and they're so scared to say it. So we can't be scared. This is the time to be brave, and that's why I decided to go public. But the backlash, oh, my gosh. And, yeah, I mean, I did get a call from my agent. He said, so are we going political now? Can you just keep me informed when you're going to drop bombs like this so that, I know I can, because I got people saying that they wanted refunds from my speeches after they heard this. And, how I've lost all respect for you. I looked up to you for so long and, you're so smart. How could you be so stupid? And, all the whole range of comments from just disappointment to death threats.
And does that make you, I know for me, for example, when I became that guy who loves Trump, okay, and people would go after me, I found myself digging in even harder. Has that been the case with you now that these so-called friends and fans have become so nasty? Are you dug in for Trump even harder, or still you're going to vote for him, but, mildly enthusiastic?
I'm not somebody that can be easily swayed no matter what. I am pretty set in my morals and values, and there are still things about Trump that I don't love. And it's interesting because like one of my issues with him is the bully attitude and the crassness and just how I just wish he would stop talking a lot of the time. But when I was in Israel, I did this poll that also created a huge stir. And I didn't say anything, but I went around Tel Aviv and I asked 100 Israelis who they thought was better for Israel.
Let me answer your question right off the bat. I pay attention. If I'm correct, because I think I saw this, you asked 100 Israelis in Tel Aviv if they preferred Trump or Harris. And if I'm correct, I believe 93 said Trump.
You are amazing that you remember that. That's exactly right. 93 said Trump. And Tel Aviv is the most liberal city in the liberal democracy of Israel. There's rainbow gay pride flags everywhere. And I really had no idea how this poll was going to go. And I stated no opinion of my own. I just asked. And then I would follow up. I didn't get to put all this in the video because the reel is so short, but I wanted to know from my own personal information why people were wanting to vote for Trump. And, I asked people that you would not think just based on flash judgment. And the reason, a lot of them said the reason that they think we need Trump is because he is a bully and because and with that attitude, will be taken seriously in the foreign policy world.
They're right.
And I thought that that's a good point.
They're right, because
so the reason that I have issues with him is the reason that they think we need him.
They're exactly right. I say this all the time. People are like, he needs to be nice. Let me tell you something, okay, Lizzie? You know this. Putin's not nice. The guy in North Korea, Kim Jong-un, he's not nice. The guy Ping in China, he's not nice. That's nonsense. You need that bully. You're exactly right. The last thing you need is a nice guy who's going to talk nice when they're killing people, who's going to write checks. You need that bully.
I understand. I totally get it, but it still makes me cringe, and I know a lot of people feel like me because I want like a diplomatic. It's not that I want someone nice, but I want a buttoned up, proper leader, and that is not. I'm sure that Trump is who he is unapologetically, and that I guess for me is something I admire. People that aren't faking it, especially in the political world, where they're acting one way, but then really are another way behind closed doors. With Trump, there's no guessing. He is who he is. So.
No, you're right about that, and a lot of people do agree with you. They're going to vote for Trump because they love his policies. And they're scared to death about the future of Israel and the United States. They don't love him. I love him. But there are a lot of people that happen to agree with you, but it doesn't matter. Personality at this point shouldn't matter, right?
No, it shouldn't matter. I think that we need to be voting for our survival. This is a life or death moment for the Jewish people in America and Americans in general. The greatest threat to America is, the Islamic jihadist terrorism. And that's something that goes far beyond the Jewish community. And I want a leader who's going to take that seriously. And we don't have that now. And, somebody who's making promises about what they're going to do when they're in office, when they're already in office, it's terrifying.
That's so well said. Don't worry, I'm going to fix it. Wait a second. Fix it. You were just in office the last 3.5 years. I thought things were going so well. I thought you were the greatest administration ever. What do you mean you're going to fix it? So tell me this. You were in Israel for the better part of 6-7 weeks. I'm not sure if you stayed in Tel Aviv or not, but give me a sense, as I prepare to go back October the 5th, give me a sense of what it was like on the ground, because I'm going to be introducing David Friedman today at a very big webinar for the World Zionist Congress. It's a big deal. And he's been in Israel about as long as you were. And he called this show the other day and said, Sid, every night I go to sleep, I'm not sure that at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to be running to a bomb shelter. What was it like for you, Ira, and the kids?
The last time we were in Israel as a family was on October 7th. And it was a very traumatic experience for my kids, being in a bomb shelter all day, not knowing what was going on, the things they were hearing. It was impossible to shield them from the sadistic reality of what had happened, and rushing out on October 8th. And so I wanted this trip with my family to sort of be a healing experience. And then we land and we hear that there's going to be rockets from Iran. And
well, let me stop. Where did you hear that from? I'm curious. Was that news or somebody on the street? Where'd you hear that?
It was this is all anyone was talking about everywhere.
Wow.
It was the topic. And I noticed that even though it was the topic and Israelis know exactly what they need to do, and so I needed to prep my kids. I had to have a conversation with them. We were staying in a 3-floor house. I said, if you're on a different floor than me and the sirens go off, run directly downstairs. Don't come up to me first. And, that scared my kids, but I had to have that conversation with them. And Israelis, this is just their way of life. And I noticed that none of them were stopping their daily routines, no matter how disruptive it was, knowing that this was around the corner, this was inevitable. They were still going about their lives. Everywhere I went was busy. Every restaurant was packed. For my American kids, it was not normal. And, one of the things I had planned to go up north with the Jerusalem Post to showcase some of the damage from the Hezbollah rockets, because something nobody's really talking about is that, over 100,000 people have been displaced from the north since October 8th because of the, tens of thousands of rockets that have been fired. And I wanted to go showcase all this damage. When people think about Israel, we think about the founding and the planting of all these trees and all these JNF trees that everyone planted, and they're all destroyed. So, they called me the night before and they said, we can't go up to the north. It's just too dangerous.
Wow.
And I was like, what do you mean? Let's go.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to leave my kids knowing that the sirens may go off in Tel Aviv. And so, it was very much, we were all aware, but we didn't let it stop us from, living and enjoying our time there.
So on the way out, Lizzy, you're a big-time social influencer. Again, you talked about your agent calling you and said, next time you're going to tell Sid I'm voting for Trump, let me know beforehand, And we know that you lost followers. I don't know how many. That's, you would know that, obviously. And I saw the vile comments all over social media. But have you kind of moved past that now? Has it kind of stabilized at this point?
No, it hasn't.
Wow.
Every time that I post anything that has nothing to do with the election, people are still in my comments, and it's so inappropriate. It's so heartless. I'm posting
so is it fair to assume that when we post anything about this conversation, not even about Trump, anything about this conversation later, you're going to get hateful replies? Of course.
And, I've experienced another mass exodus of followers, but that, it's okay. I feel like I know in my heart that I'm standing in my truth, and I never regret doing that. So, I feel good about living out loud in my truth. And I know, I am who I am.
Yep.
Just like Trump is who he is.
Yeah. No, and you're great. Let me tell you something. You to people like me and Siggy Flicker and Michelle Lubin Terrace and the millions. Let's not lower the number here. The millions of Jews that are Republicans and Trump supporters. You're a hero to us. It took a lot of courage to do what you did, and it's going to cost you both financially and in terms of losing fans. But you said, I don't care because this is the right thing to do. More people in America need to do that. So at the very least, Lizzy, to me, to Sid Rosenberg, you're a hero.
Well, thank you, Sid. Thank you for giving me the space to do it and supporting me the whole way, having my back the whole way, and responding to all those hateful comments for me. I love you. You should literally be my digital bodyguard. You're great.
If I see those people in the streets, I'll beat the hell out of them, I promise. Listen, I'm glad you're back safely, and next week or maybe the week after, whenever you're available, come into the studio. We want to say hello to you. Great job and a great phone call. Thank you, Lizzy Savetsky.
All right. Love you, Sid.
Love you
Thank
too.
So much.
There she is, Lizzy Savetsky, my favorite social influencer when it comes to Israel. Nobody better. That is a courageous young lady. Lizzy Savetsky.